Hello and welcome back to Pass IELTS with Coach Jemima. In this section, I am going to be talking to you about the IELTS Speaking Module. Now, in your IELTS test, you are going to be writing 4 different exams on reading, listening, writing, and speaking modules. This class, I am going to be talking to you about the speaking section. Now, what is the speaking section of the IELTS exam? The speaking section of the IELTS exam is that section where you are tested on your communication skill using your words. They want to see the way you talk, and that is it. That is what the speaking test is all about. Now, I am going to be telling you the things that your speaking test are the things that it is not, because there are so many misconceptions out there about the speaking test. Many test takers are scared of what they are not supposed to be scared about, and they are not taking note of the things they are supposed to be taking note of. Now, first of all, your speaking test is a test of communication and not necessarily intelligence. Many students will always feel that any question being asked in their speaking test is the examiner trying to test their intelligence. That is not the case. Many of the questions you are being asked in your speaking test is necessarily not for you to have the whole idea about. You do not really have to have all the ideas in the world about that particular question. Just know a little about it. And then know how to communicate the little that you know. So they are only trying to test your communication skill and not necessarily your intelligence. Okay, now another thing I want you to note is that, remember, this IELTS exam is being used for those that want to migrate, either to work or to study in any English speaking country where we have native speakers. So this IELTS speaking test is to see whether, as you are going to this particular country, you can communicate well with these native speakers, and they can also understand you when you communicate with them. Okay? Now, another thing you need to know about this your speaking test is this. It is more like a job interview, but this time an informal job interview. When you go for a job interview, you are asked several questions. Okay, even when you are preparing probably few days to this particular interview, you are preparing on every level. And then when you get there, you want to be at your best, you want to dress at your best, you want to say the things that are the best things that you can actually say. You want to give the best answers. But this time in IELTS, see it as an informal job interview where you really do not have to be what you are not. In your IELTS speaking test, you can always be yourself. Now, another thing that can help you, or another mindset that can help you, is that you should always see your speaking interview as a chit chat, between you and your friend over a cup of coffee. So when you have that mindset, it is really going to help you when you are answering your examiner. You get, so you want to see your examiner as a friend. Now, when I say as a friend, there are some languages that you should not use. You don't want to start making use of colloquial languages. You don't want to start making use of two informal languages that you can only use for a friend. Okay? But see it as a chat between you and your friend, where you do not have to be so complicated. You do not have to use complicated words. You do not have to start thinking out of the blue. You do not have to start thinking about things that you probably are not prepared for. For instance, if you are chatting with your friend and this friend asks you a question, you don't want to stammer. You just want to smile and say, oh well. Even if it is a question that you probably do not have an answer to at that point, you want to answer with a smile, you want to answer with confidence, not being nervous, stammering, and repeating words too often. Now, this is going to, in a way, affect your score. This is going to, in a way, affect your score. So, have that confidence. Face your examiner as a friend. But of course, you don't want to use wrong languages. Rigidity in IELTS speaking will not help you flow with ideas as you should. You should not be rigid. You should not be rigid is the word. Don't be rigid. Be flexible. Whatever question you are being asked, answer confidently. Don't expect or don't think your examiner is expecting a particular answer from you. Your examiner is not expecting a particular answer from you. Your examiner is expecting your own answer. Let me give you an instance. In a formal class examination, let's say back in your secondary school or in the university, whatever your examiner says for you, there's a particular answer your teacher or your examiner is looking for. Okay, whether in any subject like biology, mathematics, physics, and the likes. There's a part when your examiner, when your teacher asks a particular question in an exam, there is a certain answer that this teacher is looking for. Okay, and if you do not write up to that level, you are not going to get the score that you want. Okay, but in IELTS, the examiner is not looking for a type of answer. Your examiner is looking for your own answer. So any question being asked in IELTS, please give your own answer. Give the answer that you have. Okay, give the answer that you have. Be flexible. Do not be nervous. Always smile. Now, this always smile, I mean, do not frown. Okay, for some of you may not want to smile. For some of you may feel awkward just smiling for nothing. Alright, that's fine, but do not frown, please. Do not frown, especially when you're having a face-to-face speaking interview. It may give your examiner a kind of impression that even you do not want to give your examiner. So even if you don't want to smile also, at certain points, just smile, just loosen up. Just loosen up. Do not be rigid. Okay? Now, let me say this last thing. Now, the last point is this. Whenever you are being asked a question, especially a question that you probably may have little or no idea about. Now, the truth is, in IELTS speaking test, there is no question that you have zero idea about. Trust me, your examiner is not going to ask you a question that you will have zero idea about. It's either you have very little idea about it or you have very much idea about it. Now, whichever category you fall into, you are not disadvantaged. For instance, let's say you have been asked a question, have you ever been on a boat cruise? Okay, or have you ever been on a boat trip? Now, this is a question from your examiner, and you have never been on a boat trip. So how do you want to answer this question? Your answer should not always be yes. Your answer should not always be yes. Some people feel that, I have to answer yes to every question. I have to say, yes to every question being asked. No. That's why I said from the beginning of this class that it is a test of communication, not intelligence. In fact, you may not even know what a boat cruise is, but you heard the word boat, right? Boat, and you know boat is means of transportation, especially sea transportation. Okay, so you have little idea about it. There is no zero idea. Of course, you know what a boat is. Okay, now a cruise is more like a journey or a voyage. Okay, so whenever you are being asked this particular kind of question, you want to give the little idea you have. Have you ever been on a boat cruise? You can answer yes, and you have never been on a boat cruise. Yes. If you have an idea of what a boat cruise is, okay, and you say, yes, I have, and this was my experience. Okay, but if you haven't, it will be very wrong of you to just say, I've not been on a boat cruise, and then you stopped there. That is not communication. You are not communicating anymore. Okay, no. Alright, you have never been on a boat cruise. No, I haven't. But you can ask this. However, if I have the opportunity to, this, and this is what I'm going to do. You don't want to just say, no, I haven't, and then you stop there. That is not communication. So they want to see how well you can communicate, whether you're yes or you're So all your answers do not have to be yes. Alright, so this will be the end of this class. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.